Howdy, guys. I'm so happy to see y'all tonight. Man, I was getting a little bit worried with Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp being down. I thought, I'm not going to be able to get any notifications out. Who knows if YouTube is going to be working as well? But it's all working, and it's all working. So I'm happy. Hey, maybe they got it working just for me and for all of y'all. But welcome aboard. I hope y'all are having a fantastic Monday, the first Monday in October. It's supposed to be cool weather, right? Fall weather, at least down here in Texas. We're not cold, but at least it's supposed to be a little cooler. Not down here. It's burning up today. It was a little warm. But before I go any further, SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love all the reality fans. And I certainly love all of y'all out here. Thank you so much for the support. For those of you who are watching live, welcome. And I got comment section just for y'all. And I'm going to try to cover everything I can. Scoot over a little bit. Change some things up. To try to answer as many questions as I can this evening. Big Brother's over, so we're a little bit more open to whatever y'all want to talk about. For those of you who aren't watching live, but you're watching on the replay, well, welcome to y'all as well. But hey, next Monday, come out and ask some questions as well. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. Who all's out here? I saw Ma's out here. Birdman's out here. Cindy Hire. Howdy, Cindy. Andy W is out here as well. Amanda Lowe. Hey, Amanda. Kaylin Donnelly, howdy guys. I wasn't really sure with Instagram being down. Everyone's kind of been off their computers, out. Enjoying the great outdoors. It's kind of a cool concept, isn't it? How'd we survive before we had the phones and all of that? Tim C, thank you. Yes, I'm gonna still continue doing these, Tim C, even with Big Brother over. Y'all know me. Most of y'all saw me on Big Brother. I can talk about whatever. I've never been at a loss for talking. I could have been great on Seinfeld, an entire TV show about nothing. Well, this is kind of the YouTube version about it. We can take anything and we'll talk about it. So thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. Joshy P out here as well. And a few others. Let's see. Josh Kendrick, Belle M, Elisha, Ms. Birthday Girl. I like that name, Ms. Birthday Girl. If it's your birthday today, which would make sense. Happy birthday and Feliz Cumpleaños to you as well. Kaylin, did I say hello to you? Paula Scar out there, Kathy Robinson Pickett. And okay, your birthday's on Wednesday. Close it up. Happy birthday to you. I hope you have a fantastic day. Enjoy every bit of your celebration. And let's see, that may be about it. Will you be covering Survivor? Ms. Birthday Girl's asking. Well, funny you should ask that, Ms. Birthday Girl. Yes, in fact, I've already got a couple episodes out there. Hey, check out the playlist. There's a playlist just for Survivor. I did a cast preview. I've done the first 2 episodes. We'll talk about that just a little bit tonight as well. For those of you who haven't done it already, if you subscribe, then you'll find out whenever I drop a new episode of Survivor or anything else. So, Ms. Birthday Girl, you never have to miss another episode again. Yeah, I typically have been trying to do the Survivor right after the episode's over, that night or next morning. It's a little tough on Wednesday of this week or last week was tough. Between the 2-hour Big Brother finale and then Survivor as well. I'm so into those shows, so I'm watching, but I'm also trying to take notes a little bit so I can do my recaps, and then I've got to film it all. It was a long night. It was a long season of Big Brother. I've been ready to take a little bit of a nap for a while. Nap for a while. Yeah, it was 86, 85. Somewhere lost. I thought it was 86 days, but I think it's 85 days for Big Brother. Staying up watching those live feeds. It was an interesting summer. I'm kind of glad to be done with yet another season. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but I'm glad to get a little rest break now between now and Christmas. And then we got Celebrity Big Brother coming. It just goes on and on and on, guys. But I wouldn't have it any other way. So what else is going on? TV Talk. Let's see. Well, I'm looking at the comments. Anthony Stike enjoyed all the secret reveals in the finale. I love that stuff. I know most of y'all know what Anthony's talking about, right? They talked about people who they talked about. Xavier turns out he was an attorney, which everyone questioned, and but a lot of people suspected that. I don't know that anyone's ever tied in Derek Frazier and Smoking Joe Frazier, the former heavyweight boxer. Man, I used to love Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali boxing when I was growing up, when you could still see boxing on just regular old TV on Saturdays and everything. Nowadays, it's all pay-per-view and all that. But back then, you could watch it. I don't think anyone ever picked up that Derek was Joe Frazier's son. So yeah, it was cool watching them do all the different little reveals and what they talked about. I think Claire was an AI engineer, and there were some smart people in the cast this season, right? I gotta say, as a recap to Big Brother, and I know most of y'all watched it out there, and so y'all watch as well. I gotta say, I absolutely love this cast. I mean, everyone, even the ones who went home, even Travis, and some of the ones who went home very early on. I still like the cast members. I thought that the casting people did a fantastic job. The gameplay, a little predictable at times, right? It was a little tough doing these recaps where I knew as soon as the nominations were made, or at least as soon as the veto competition was played out, I knew who was going home that following Thursday. So then we just had 3 or 4 days to report where there wasn't a whole lot of changes or controversy or anything else. So there were some weeks that little tough to cover, a little too predictable. I like the chaos. Not while I'm in the house. Yeah, while it's in the house, that drove me crazy because our season was so chaotic. Man, so many right before the votes, flipping back and forth and everything. So as a viewer, I like or as a player, I like the predictability. As a viewer, I wanted to see everyone going crazy in there, and they never really did do that. So here's the Big Brother season 24. Do y'all realize we've got Celebrity Big Brother, then we've got Big Brother Canada that's going to be next spring, and then it's time for season 24 all over again. So for those of you who are at least 21 and you want to play Big Brother, try it. You never know what's going to happen. Look at me. I'm just a regular old guy who happened to try it. Next thing you know, I'm in that house looking around thinking, what the heck did I just sign up for? I wouldn't change it for the world, but yeah, if I can make it on there, I guarantee y'all can make it on there. All right, TV Talks with Tom. Tom, how do you have? I saw Tom making a mention about everyone who covered Big Brother this season and how happy he was with everyone. I agree, and I thank you, Tom. Tom does a great job covering as well, so glad to see you out here. Happy Monday, Cliff. So weird not having Big Brother to watch. I know. It's like I'm hooked on a drug or something. I'm have to go cold turkey for a little while. Yeah, it's especially hard too because everyone got out of the house, and now I'm probably seeing more tweets now on Big Brother than maybe during the season because we're seeing so many tweets now that they got out. They're seeing the real world again. It feels like half of the Cookout Alliance is just hanging out with Todrick over at his house. I guess that's in LA. Todrick's a YouTube content creator, influencer, etc. And who does he have over there right now? I think he's got Azza and Kyland and Tiffany and Hannah and Derek X. And he's not even at the house. It's just all of the Cookout Alliance hanging out and having fun. And that's kind of interesting. I mean, they're enjoying their time together. And I've got to say, once you get out of the house, after you've played Big Brother, once you're out of the house and you realize that you don't have to be gunning for everyone and stabbing people in the back and worrying about what they're doing to you and vice versa. It's such a cutthroat game. When you're through with all of that and you can just look at your fellow housemates as real people and communicate and interact with them the way we do on here, where it's all nice and friendly and, it's kind of cool. It's a different perspective that is so important for the house guests to be able to do. So I can see why they're still wanting to hang out. I missed out on that a little bit because once I got out of the house, we had I don't know if for all of you may or may not know, but after the finale night, the very next night, they had a big party at some bar. I couldn't tell you what the name is because I don't have a clue, but someplace in downtown LA. They had a big party and we all hung out. I think everyone was there except for Jessica and Bella. I think all the rest of our cast was there. We just hung out all night long, and that was a blast. But then a lot of them went over to Vegas to hang out and party and go to raves. I'm not the rave kind of guy. Not that I wouldn't do it, but I'm not the rave kind of guy. I hung around with my family because I wanted to spend as much time as possible with them. So I missed out on some of the interactions with the house guests after the show was over, but I get it completely why they're doing it. But yeah, that's a long answer to Tom's comment. But yeah, I feel like I'm getting more Twitter feeds and everything about after the show than I was there for a while during the show. It's been fun. I've reached out to most of the housemates from this season. Pre-jury, I'd already reached out to all of them, and I think I pretty much talked to everyone, almost everyone. But I reached out to everyone else since then, and most people have responded, and yeah, I just welcome to the Big Brother family. And there's a few people like Tiffany. I said, "Man, I'd love to see you come back again," and she responds, said thanks and all that. So yeah, it's been fun. I'm looking forward to the first event, probably a charity event, something like that, where they all get to show up and I get to talk to them a little bit and give Derek a hard time and hang around with a few of them and talk some strategies and ask him some questions like, what in the world were you thinking when you did this or that? I'll be nice. I'll be polite because I think that most of them played a pretty good game. But we do Hearts of Reality in December where we all go over to Orlando and do a big thing for Give Kids a World, which is like a kind of Make-A-Wish type charity for kids who want to go to Disney World. So I'm going in December. What is it? December 10th, 11th, something, 9th, 10th, and 11th. So if you're in the Orlando area, you want to go, it is a huge fundraiser, and we do huge meet and greets and things like that. I'm sure a lot of them are going to go as well, and I'm looking forward to meeting them. So, yeah, that's going to be kind of neat. All right, I'm sitting here talking. Let me look at some of these comments. I've got Ronald Sproul saying, you're happy that Xavier won, and finally a black winner, and glad Big D was second. I'm okay with that. I mean, I called it, for those of you who've been watching either my recaps or these shows. I think I called Xavier from the very beginning. Pretty much, I think. I know he was one of my favorites from the very beginning. Big D, I said I thought he was going to be one of the more fun guys in the house. I didn't necessarily expect him to come in second place, but you know what? He deserved it. I don't know. He did what he had to do to get there. The problem with Big D's game is, as strong as he played in order to get to second place, I think he also played into a position where there was no way that he could win first place. You know, you can ride coattails up to the very, very, very end, but to actually win it, you probably have to do more than he did. But that's all right. He was interesting to watch in the house. Yeah, I have a few little things, a few comments made here and there that were, kind of him. But that's all right. I asked Big D a question. I said, "All right, Big D, I know you were a smoker going into the house. Are you, you went cold turkey. Are you going to stay off the cigarettes once you get out?" And he sent a thing back and say, "Yeah, it's kind of hard to do. I'm not sure yet. I'll see." So I'm going to give him a hard time if he gets back. If you smoke, stop. If you ever think about it, don't. You don't need to be a smoker. Not in this day and age. I was so happy when I did Big Brother my season. We didn't have a single smoker in the house. I'm all for that. It made it much easier. I don't know how anyone could do it when you don't have the backyard for a couple of days a week, but some people try. A few people try. All right, let's see. Birdman, what do you think of Kylan's exit? That was it was all right. I know there's been a lot of controversy. I think it was the heat of the moment. I think, and I've kind of seen that backed up by what I've seen after he got out. Kylan's not one that easily admits that he was ever wrong, right? But it seems like he and Xavier at least have mended fences a little bit. It's hard. It's when you see your dreams just getting dashed and you're not going to win the money. And he went out on a sour note, and I'm sure he regrets it. He ought to regret it. But no, I think I give people a lot of benefit of the doubt and a lot of wiggle room as they're heading out, because it's such an emotional situation. It's much more important what you do after you get out than necessarily those 5 minutes or so while you're in there. And he'll be all right. I think he, call it what you will. Kylan was a passionate player. He didn't always play exactly the way I would have played. Certainly he let some HOHs go to his head sometimes, right? He was a little hard to handle as an HOH. Doing those one-on-ones would have driven me absolutely bonkers. But hey, he played with a passion. So I didn't like the way he went out, but I also don't hold it too much against him, as long as I'll judge him much more by his character outside of the house than those 5 minutes while we were inside the house. So there you go. All right, Bell M. Happy you're continuing to go live each week, and thanks for sharing with all of us. Will BB Big Brother get a new house next year? Well, first off, thank you. I appreciate it. The reason I do this show is because y'all are out here watching. So thank you. I appreciate the support. As far as the new house, I don't know if most of y'all may have heard, or maybe not, that CBS is selling the whole studio lot, which includes the Big Brother house over in Burbank. But my understanding is they're selling it only because studio lots have gotten so expensive and there's so much in demand. And they just think they can make a fortune by selling to someone else, which kind of makes me think that CBS probably will turn around, and it's not like they're going to go tear it all down. I think they'll turn around, they'll sell it to someone else, and then they'll just lease back some of those sound stages that they need for shows. And I can't imagine that they wouldn't invest or just create some kind of agreement saying, "Yeah, we're going to continue to lease out Soundstage 18." 18 is a for those of you who don't know, it's Soundstage 18 is where Big Brother is. Uh, I'm sure they'd say, "Hey, let us keep this lot right here or this soundstage to do Big Brother." And so now it would be kind of cool if they had a new house, right? I'd be interested to see what it looked like. But now I think they've already invested so much into it. I have a feeling they're gonna just keep it there for I don't know at least the next few years. I kind of don't think they'll ever get rid of it. It's kind of like Survivor going to Fiji. For a while there, they were going everywhere. And then finally, they figured out it's a lot cheaper just to stay in one location over and over again. Big Brother's figured out the same thing. However much money they would spend building a brand new house, it's so much more expensive than just taking that same floor plan and just changing up year after year, which some people don't like. And I'm okay with it. Now that I've been in the house, I'm really okay with it because if they went somewhere else, it just wouldn't feel like my house. When I watch this season and last season as well, when I watch people in the same kitchen, in the same bathroom, the same bedrooms that I was in, even though it looks different, wallpaper and all that, it's still the same floor plan. It still meant something. It still brought up so many memories. So I hope they don't move to a new house. I really don't think they will. All right, let's see. What else? Paula Scar. Have you heard if Kylan gave back Big D's ring? No, I saw something out there that either said he did or suggested that he did, but I can't tell you 100% that he actually did because I just haven't seen it. But here's the thing. They were all, Big D was over at Todrick's house as well. I watched a little clip, and I think it may have been Twitter or Instagram. Since Instagram's been down, it's probably Twitter, but I watched something the last day or so that was pretty funny. Big D was in there. Todrick apparently has like a big studio theater room, which looks really cool. And they're all watching all the episodes of Big Brother. And Kylan and Big D are both there. They're hanging around that much. I can't imagine that Kylan held on to that ring. He had to give it back. I'll ask him first time I see him in person, but I know he gave it back. I just know it right here that he did. But it's pretty funny because that on the screen, Big D's giving some kind of big motivational speech, probably to Brittany. I'm not sure if they even show, but he's giving this long kind of motivational speech. Well, Big D watching it is asleep on the couch. He's not even paying attention as he on the screen gives his own speech, which is it's kind of funny. It is so weird watching those shows back because for me, I lived through the experience. I played the game of Big Brother, but I'm still not used to watching a big screen TV, and there I am talking way too much, interacting and plotting and conspiring, and it's hard to watch because there's a lot of things like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that was a lot of fun, and there's other times where it's like, oh, I can't believe they were saying about me and I didn't pick up on it. Man, that was horrible. It's tough to watch yourself on TV, I think. Maybe that's why I've never have watched my entire season. One of these days I will. All right, let's see. Will they ever show live feeds in the Jury House next season? Michelle's asking. I doubt it. I just think they want to keep the focus on the people still playing the game. Plus, the Jury House is a lot more laid back, and you don't have the conspiring and everything else. And I don't think you'll ever see live feeds of any sort in a Jury House because partly it'd be too boring. Partly it just doesn't have anything to do with the gameplay itself. So I don't think so. But we'll see. All right. Shelly's saying that he did. I saw the photo of the two of them with Big D wearing the ring. Oh, good. I knew Kylan would do it. It was just a spur of the moment. I knew he would do it. But thank you for that confirmation, Shelly. I appreciate it. Kaylin Donnelly. All right, well, let's love Moss first. What's with the background? All right, for those of you who don't know the background, such an interesting show on Netflix. And let's just follow that up with Kaylin Donnelly saying, will you be covering Squid Games? Hence the background. So, yeah, there you go, Ma. There you go. From one of the first episodes of the Squid Games. Have y'all heard about that? It's on Netflix. And now I'm not going to talk any spoilers whatsoever because I've only watched the first couple of episodes. So there's a whole lot I don't know about it yet. But I'm sure some of y'all have seen it. But not Mod. This is from Squid Games. Uh, and again, I don't want to give spoilers, but picture for those of you who have seen Battle Royale, which was a Japanese show, kind of like Hunger Games, and then you had Hunger Games, which we've all seen Hunger Games. I can't believe they didn't let me watch Hunger Games while I was in sequester before going into the Big Brother house. I asked them, I said, please, y'all got to have Hunger Games there. Get me into the mood of playing Big Brother. No, we're sorry, Cliff. We don't have that here. That'd be the perfect game. They ought to show nothing but Hunger Games and shows like that to get people just fired up and really in that mood to go after each other. But they didn't. But anyway, Squid Games is a little bit like Hunger Games or Battle Royale. It's all about people trying to survive and not in great conditions. It's not the most family friendly. There's a little violence involved. We'll just leave it at that. But it's from South Korea, and like I said, I was going to talk about that later. I've been binge watching. How can you say you're binge watching when I've only seen 2 or 3 episodes? For me, having covered Big Brother for the last 85 days, I binged watched 2 or 3 episodes before I fell asleep on the couch in pure exhaustion from covering a whole lot of late night live feeds. But eventually, I'm going to finish it up here over the next, probably over the next week or so. It's cool. It's like I say, if you got little kids at home, don't let them watch this. It's not the family friendly type show. Let them watch Benji or Benji Soul. There ought to be more family friendly new stuff, but it's interesting. It's kind of a crazy one. So yeah, Squid Games is kind of cool. We may talk about that again here. It's so weird. All right, here I got one suggestion for y'all before we move on to another topic. We'll just finish up here. Squid Games was from South Korea. It's in Korean. I think South Korea and North Korea both just speak Korean, right? I don't think they've got 2 different languages. It's in Korean, but which means you've got 2 options. Well, you've got 3 if you speak Korean. Well, props to you and watch it the way it was originally intended. But for those of us who don't speak Korean, you can either watch it dubbed into English, which is kind of funny watching how they do that, or you can actually have the English subtitles and listen to it in Korean. I got a recommendation for you. I got a suggestion for you. Do both. Watch it dubbed into English, but also have the English subtitles underneath because they're not the same. They're different. The English subtitles, I think, were done for the dubbing was done for kind of an American audience. The subtitles, I think they took the original Korean and they actually typed it out exactly as the Korean was written or as translated. So they're not the same. It's kind of fun to see how they changed things up to fit how long they have to fit in the dub and things like that. It just kind of made it a little more cool. So there you go. Squid Games, I highly recommend it so far. The second half may be horrible, and I'll come back and say, I'm sorry about that, guys. But so far, I've loved it a lot. All right, another topic, Birdman. What was the process when you got evicted to the jury house? All right, well, Birdman, first thing, let me point out, I never went to the jury house. No, and it's not because I won the whole thing. I wish. But no, the 4th place player doesn't go to the jury house because instead, and I've talked about this before, but I don't mind mentioning it again real quick. I got evicted on a Thursday night. On a Friday night, we filmed the jury roundtable. I was the last juror before Nicole came in the very last night, but I was juror number 8. So instead of going to the jury house, I just stayed in a sequester spot real close nearby on Thursday night. The next morning, I did all my press interviews. Oh, those things took forever. All morning long, I did press interviews. But because I was part of the jury, Big Brother didn't want me to accidentally hear something I wasn't supposed to. So I couldn't actually talk to any of the reporters. Instead, I had a CBS person who would read the reporter's question to me, and then I would give my answer out over the telephone. They would write down my answer, and then they would send it to the reporter. So it was kind of a convoluted process and everything. But I did media all morning long. After that, I then went where we did the jury roundtable, and everyone who'd been in the jury house got brought back for that roundtable. And so we did the whole, on the show, it was Wednesday night, they showed that roundtable, right? Everyone talking about, why do you think Big D deserves to win? Why do you think Xavier deserves to win? Well, we did that as well, but Dr. Will Kirby was our moderator for us. But on the show, it takes like 10 minutes or so. In real life, it took about 2 hours. It took forever. But after we got done with that, we then finished taping that. We had they brought in a meal for us to eat, and we figured out what jury questions we wanted to ask for whoever the two people were left. So we did that. And then after that, they put us in a sequester where we all were separated from each other for the next 6 days or so until the finale. So I never went to the jury house. I never got a chance to do that. Now, I may have missed the point. You asked what happens right after you get evicted. Right after I got evicted, I came out. I talked to Julie for just a little while, and that was kind of cool, meeting her. I didn't want to meet her under those circumstances, but it's still cool getting to talk one-on-one with her. But as soon as I got done with that, they sent me over to a little isolation room place, and I talked to the producers and a psychologist and all the people. Said, "Are you okay, Cliff? How are you doing?" "Yeah, other than the fact I just lost $500,000, I'm fine. But beyond that, yeah, no problem at all." They just wanted to make sure that I wasn't, going horribly depressed or something like that. Yeah, whatever. It's a game. Once they did that, then they sent me the sequester spot. So there you go, Birdman. That's kind of how that works. All right, James Brown. Think you should do something on the Gold Rush reality show. Love you on your season. Well, thank you. I appreciate the support. I had a blast playing my season. It got so much fun. The Gold Rush, is that on A&E? I'm not sure. I've seen some where I feel like I've seen some where they're was in Alaska, but I don't know. It could be Colorado as well. I remember when I was a little kid, my family went to Colorado, and we had the little pans, and we mined for gold a little bit, and I was disappointed. I thought it was going to be like on the cartoons where you find this big old nugget of gold and all that. I got little things that, I don't know, they're probably fool's gold, and who's going to tell little kids? Like, "Oh, you found gold, Cliff. Congratulations. You made the family rich." Well, not so much, but no, I haven't. I've watched a few of those shows. I've watched that one. I've also watched, was it Moonshiners with Tickle? I think that was his name. Bunch of guys up in the hills of Kentucky doing a bunch of bootleg moonshine. It's amazing how many different reality shows are out there. And I've probably seen all of them at least once or twice. But no, all right, I'll check it out. I haven't watched the gold mining here in a while. All right, David Buchanan, have you seen the movie Series 7, The Contenders? Oh, The Contenders, is that the boxing competition, David? Or at least I think now it may be MMA, right? But God, it seems like I watched the first few seasons. Who are they? Like Sugar Ray Leonard maybe was a host on one of them. It's been a few years, but it seems like they had a red team and a blue team, and every week someone would go against someone else, and someone got eliminated. And it could be a completely different series that you're talking about. But I seem to remember something, The Contenders, which actually was kind of cool while I watched it. But I feel like they moved over to MMA recently, and I really haven't seen it. If you're saying Series 7, I probably only watched the first episode, or I mean the first season or two, I think. But got that. All right, Amanda Lowe, have you seen the new movie Stillwater about a man that works on an oil rig? Matt Damon stars it. Well, yeah, of course, I've seen that. Having worked on an oil rig myself, yeah, I was excited to watch it. It was interesting. It was a little unsettling at times, and just like everything else, I don't want to give away spoilers, but he's over in France and dealing with stuff, and it didn't go quite the way I expected it to go. I'll say that, Amanda. But I will say this as well. Matt Damon did a pretty good job portraying the typical oil field guy. The way he talked, the way he acted, everything about that guy is exactly the way dozens and dozens of people I've interacted with over the years in the oil field. I mean, everything about it was spot on. He did a fantastic job. If I didn't know it was Matt Damon, if I just looked at that person, I'd say, yeah, I can see you being out in the oil field. That's the way oil field folks are. So yeah, I watched it. I thought it was pretty good. So all right, let's see what's Ma saying. Wait, jury questions aren't scripted. No, Ma, nothing's scripted in there. I am telling you, and no one ever believes me, the only thing that's ever scripted in Big Brother is some of the stuff that we have to read explaining the rules of how the game's played. In this game, we've got to roll the balls down the ramp, and if it goes off the side, you have to start. Y'all hear it all the time, right? And that's just so as viewers, everyone understands what makes a winner, it just explains how the game's to be played. That's the only part that's scripted. The rest of it, those questions, here's how it works. I mentioned they bring a meal into us. I think for us, it was some kind of Greek meal. I don't know, gyros and things like that, if I recall. But we sit around. There's some producers in there, but they really don't do anything except little things. Like they'd say, all right, guys, y'all got to come up with the questions. Don't ask some question that someone's just going to say yes Or no, I didn't say that. They said, make sure it's phrased in such a way that you force them to talk and say more than just one or two words in answer. But that's about all they had to do with it. And each of us in there would say, hey, I'd really love to ask so-and-so a question about such and such. And the other people in the jury would either say, I don't know. I think that's not that big a deal. Or they'd say, oh, yeah, I really want to hear about that. So for me, for example, I got in there and said, guys, I really want to ask Mickey about how much value he put into goodbye messages and how important he thinks goodbye messages and jury management is to the total game, because he gave me a horrible goodbye message. And so I mentioned that, and me, I think it's Tommy said, oh, he gave you a bad message. I said, yeah, it's pretty bad. So everyone said, oh, yeah, ask Mickey that. And so that's what we did. We came up with questions, and the producers kind of wanted it to have, there were 3 people at that time who still potentially could be in the final 2. So they kind of wanted us to have 3 questions for each of the 3 house guests. So depending on which 2 were left, there'd be 6 questions total asked. And so mine was for Mickey. If he hadn't made the final 3, I guess I wouldn't have asked a question. And 3 people would ask questions, Nicole, 3 to Holly, and I just wouldn't have asked one. But so that's how it worked. And no, it is not scripted. It is entirely whatever we wanted to ask within reason. I mean, I guess if we just wanted to say, hey, why are you such a jerk in there or something? And then maybe they would say, yeah, you need to be a little more descriptive or a little more details on that. But yeah, it wasn't scripted. It was absolutely anything that we wanted to ask. All right. Lori H. Saying howdy from Austin, Texas. Well, howdy, Lori. I appreciate it. I was in Austin just a couple of weeks ago. I love Austin. Man, it's I love it. The food down there is so amazing. There's actually a place now called Gordo's that does big old donuts. That's my go-to next time I go to Austin. I'm ready to try it out. So we've got that. All right, another binge. I've been talking about movies. I got a binge for y'all been listening to. I'm doing right now for work. I'm driving in my car a bit, doing sales and things like that. I got a podcast for those of you who are looking for some new things now that Big Brother's over. I don't know if any of y'all have heard Darknet Diaries. It's a guy by the name Jack Resider. It's called Darknet Diaries, and I listen to it through Spotify. I'm sure there's other ways you can pick it up. It's all about the internet. It's all about the bad side of the internet. People who are hacking into bank accounts. I just listened to one hacking into the Puerto Rican lottery to get money, and hacking into Instagram accounts. It's scary in a way, realizing there's so much about computers and technology that I don't know anything about. It makes me nervous every time I log in. As soon as I'm listening to that today, and while I'm doing that, I'm listening about Instagram being down, and all I can think is, someone hacked into Instagram and just ruined everything or whatever. But it's pretty scary how smart some of these computer science people are that can get in and do this. Some of y'all out there who have been involved with a little more technology, probably a little younger than me, a little more exposure to it, y'all probably could listen to this and have even more recognition of everything that goes on than I do. But it's a eye-opening podcast. So I think they've done about 100 episodes. So it'll keep you busy for quite a while. All right, Cliff Hogg, if you listen to the song Welcome to the Internet by Bo Burnham, Ma's saying, I don't recognize the artist. I don't recognize the song, but now I got another song to go out and listen to. Now, I don't think I have, but I'll track it down. So thank you for that. And Dan Allen saying Facebook had outages all across the world today. Yeah, Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, and people are just having a meltdown. Now, that's what's funny. Before I went to the Big Brother house, I told the producers, because you got people like Kat Dunn. Who knows how many followers Kat had before she ever even went in the house. And they asked me, they said, so Cliff, are you involved in social media? And I looked at them and said, do you think I'm involved in social media? No, I'm not. I said, I've got a Snapchat that I think my wife has watched once or twice of me posting something. I've got Twitter that the only people that follow me is my family. I don't even have an Instagram account. I don't have a YouTube account. I don't have any of that stuff. And they said, well, that's okay, Cliff. We didn't really expect you to, but we wanted to ask. And now I can't picture not having all my social media just so I can talk to you guys and keep up with Big Brother and everything else that goes on in the world. So, yeah, a lot of people with a lot of extra time on their hands today, because you don't realize how often you go to that phone looking at Instagram until you can't. And then suddenly it's like, well, what am I going to do now? I guess I'll have to read a book or something, or just watch more Squid Games, which is what most of us do, right? But anyway, yeah. So we got that. All right, Ma. Let's see, Dan Allen. Can I get a birthday shout out? The big 44. Well, Dan, absolutely. Congratulations. Happy 44th birthday. Fantastic age. I enjoy every bit of it. Man, do a little dancing and do a whole lot of celebrating. Congratulations. Have a blast on your special day. That's but don't celebrate just that it's your birthday. Celebrate everything that makes you the cool dude that you are. All right, Ma San was singing Electric Avenue today. It was a YouTube recommendation. Well, Ma, first of all, let me say this. I'm not sure what else you may be watching on YouTube that Electric Avenue is actually the song that comes up as a recommendation. Who sings it? Is that Eddie Grant? I think. We're gonna rock on down Electric Avenue. Yeah, I know the song. I'm a depository of song knowledge. Maybe repository. I don't know. Yeah, I like Electric Avenue. I love it. I was listening today when I wasn't listening to the podcast. I was listening to the top 100 songs of all time, and I know most of them. I know pretty much all the lyrics. So yeah, I love my music. All right, let's see what else. Dan saying mobile devices have become like a fifth limb. Yeah, you call it a fifth limb. I think there's a lot of people that would give up an arm or leg before they gave up their cell phone. Really? Think about that question. If someone came to you and said, you either have to give up your left arm or you can never use a cell phone or computer again in your entire rest of your life. How many of y'all are giving up one of your appendages as opposed to giving up all your technology? I think most of us out here may say, well, I write with my right hand, so maybe this one's not that big a deal. So, all right, well, I guess saying chop away maybe isn't the right way to phrase it, right? But yeah, I think maybe the mobile phone's the fourth appendage, and that old non-dominant hand is going to be your fifth one, right? All right, Ms. Birthday Girl, are you on TikTok, Cliff? Yes, I have an account on TikTok. No, I have not done any videos on TikTok. Maybe I should. Here's the thing. TikTok, I really have to balance me acting silly on TikTok versus balancing the embarrassment factor for my wife and kids watching me act silly on TikTok. So now I haven't done anything yet. I talk about it all the time, but when it comes to actually getting out there, there's too much dancing and not enough singing on TikTok. If it was just a matter of me getting up there and doing a little karaoke or something, I may be willing to do that. But there's too many people doing these dances and everything, and that's just not really my style. I don't know. I say that I danced all the time inside the Big Brother house, but then I was just doing it for fun. If I was doing it on TikTok, I feel like there'd be a whole lot more of me saying, "Oh, I gotta get this move just right" and everything. So now I have an account out there, but I haven't posted anything yet. But maybe I will. All right, let's see what else on here. Tamis is saying, I like my arm, not sure if I'd be able to. Yeah, I kind of like my hands too. Y'all know me. I talk with my hands a lot. While I was in the Big Brother house, I didn't even realize it until Tommy and Christy, I think, are the two that brought it up, how I talk with my hands. They said, okay, Cliff, there's a couple of things you do. Now, one, viewers, folks like y'all talked about how I talk with dinosaur hands. It's hard to see here, but how I kind of held my elbows close to my body and would put my hands like this a little bit. They said, yeah, you talk like a T-Rex, kind of with your hands like that. But Tommy and Christy noticed that when I was defensive, when someone would accuse me of something, I'd kind of sweep my hands down and say, all right, hold on now. Hold on now. And they said, depending on how much I threw my hands up, how low I dipped before I came up, was how serious the threat was, or how much they thought that I was feeling really threatened by whatever was being said. I didn't know that until about halfway through the season, and one of them mentioned it, and I started thinking about it. I was like, maybe so. And then from then on, whenever I started talking to someone and I did that, I'd always catch myself and say, there's people probably watching all my body language. People watch everything in the house, right? You never know who's paying attention, who's not. All right, my three pugs. Do you keep in contact with anyone from Big Brother? Yes, absolutely. I keep in touch with pretty much everyone. Now, for me, it's not like I'm running off to Los Angeles to hang out. I mean, Tommy went over there and hung out with Sis and Holly and for the finale party and all of that. And people, Ovi's gone up to New York and hung out with Tommy. I don't travel to the other cities to hang out with people so much just because I got a real job and things like that. But I did go up to Arlington for the boxing competition. What's that been? About a month and a half ago. Had a blast. So much fun meeting all the old Big Brother people from Canada, from the US as well. So yeah, I know a lot of people in the Big Brother. I've met a lot of people in the Big Brother community. For my season in particular, most of them I keep up with, just the occasional text message or DMs, things like that, saying, "Hey, how you doing? Happy birthday! I hope I saw your Instagram post. That was really cool." Things like that. But I'd love to. Every single one of them. I hope that they continue to be part of my life. It'd be a lot of fun. I tried real hard not to be the father figure while I was in the house, but I'm so much older than a lot of them, most of them. I can't help but feel a little bit of that, especially now that I'm out of the house. I'm interested in their lives, how they, all the things they're going to do going forward. So yeah, I try to keep in touch with most of them. And then, like I said earlier, the Hearts of Reality charity event that's in December. I wanted to go last December, and because of COVID, I just didn't feel that it really was safe enough. I want to be careful. I don't want to cause issues for anyone. So I the last minute said, I just can't do it. It's just not, it just doesn't seem proper to go. But this year, I think, people have been vaccinated and all that. I think it's going to be safer to go. So I'm planning to go in December to Hearts of Reality. So there'll be a lot of, but here's the thing. It's not just Big Brother people they're going to be at Hearts of Reality. We'll have people from, I think WWE is there, The Circle, a whole bunch of Survivor folks. Rick Devin and a bunch of Elaine Stott, a bunch of the Big Brother or the Survivor players will be there. So yeah, it's kind of funny how the reality TV world, or at least the CBS version of it, on the Netflix and stuff too. We all just kind of have this shared experience, even if we weren't on exactly the same show. We still have kind of that shared experience of just putting ourselves out there on TV. And so when you see each other, you feel like you can be a little more open and talk and hang out and not worry so much that, there's too many people taking pictures on. It never bothers me. I love every bit of it. But yeah, it's kind of interesting because I'm still fangirling when I see all these other people from past Big Brother seasons and the challenge. Man, we went to boxing and I saw Casey and Nani sitting there at the table right across from me. I'm eating lunch and they're sitting there just eating and talking. And it's like, oh my gosh, what world am I in that I'm sitting there with these challenge people and, and rock stars there and Fessy, all these different people. It's just cool. It's so fun going to those events and getting to hang with all these different people because they're still, I'm just me. I'm just me, but they're the celebrities that somehow I got lucky enough to hang with. So it's always exciting. All right. Stephanie 640. Hey, Cliff. Well, hey, Stephanie. Welcome aboard. All right. And who asked that? Today in history. I got to talking so much that I actually was talking about Instagram being down and just kind of moved on to the day in history. I did want to throw out two things. I always start this at the first of the show, but I'll throw it in a little bit later today. First of all, today is National, a couple things, but the big one today is National Taco Day. So yes, indeed, if you got a taco, eat it. Now, I don't know why you would have Taco Day on a Monday as opposed to a Tuesday. Taco Tuesday, we celebrated it during our season. They did it during 23. I don't know if they did it every Tuesday, but a lot of Tuesdays they had Taco Tuesday. So yeah, it feels like tomorrow should be National Taco Day, but whatever. Any day is an excuse to eat tacos. We got a lot of them down here in Texas. It's a Tex-Mex food and all that. I love my spicy food. That was one of my biggest complaints when I was in the Big Brother house, was that nothing in there was spicy. They gave me some hot sauce, but it's still not the same as just being able to spice it up with peppers and everything else. So yeah, I hated not having the spices in the house. Now, with that in mind, I got a little show and tell for y'all. It wouldn't be a Cliff Notes without a little show and tell, right? I got some chips at the local grocery store, the HEB. Did y'all see these? These aren't Chiefs Puffs. These aren't Cheetos or anything. Carolina Reaper peppers. So they look like just your typical Cheetos Chiefs Puffs, except they've put a little extra spice up. They've put a whole lot of extra spice level in there. And there's two things about these that I really like. First of all, they are phenomenally good because they are so spicy that I eat a few of them. It's like, all right, maybe I'll take a little drink of water now. They definitely have the spice level. But here's the fun thing about them. They look a lot like regular old cheese puffs, and it's so much more fun going to little family events and things like that, and putting a bowl of these out and having everyone think that they're just standard old cheese puffs until they bite into them. And then typically I've got my phone out recording the reaction as suddenly it's one of these, and they go run and get a glass of milk or something. Yeah, I've always been the prankster. I told that when I tried out for Big Brother, I said, yeah, I'm the prankster of the family. I'll be the prankster inside the house. And I guarantee if I'd had these Carolina Reapers inside the house, I would have gotten every single person in the house at one point or the other. So yeah, if you got an HEB, and HEBs are primarily in Texas, I think, but there may be some other places to sell them as well. Oh, they're so good. They're fantastic. Ma saying, anyone remember when they did the pepper challenge on Big Brother Canada? Yeah, didn't they start off with like a bell pepper, and they went all the way up to habanero? I think Taichan maybe did the habanero. I can't remember who did what, but a couple of peppers at the end were pretty pickled peppers, right? Pretty spicy pickled spicy pickled peppers. That's enough for my tongue twisters tonight. But yeah, they had some of their Canadians don't necessarily eat as much spice as we do down here in Texas. We eat spicy foods down here. Poor Nicole. I know Mickey at one point got beef jerky in his HOH basket, and it was pretty spicy beef jerky. He and I ate all of it. Nicole tried just a tiny little piece, and you would have thought we just fed her pure gasoline the way she responded. Tommy wasn't much better. Those of you who live up north, gotta say, you're Italian. There's a lot of things that y'all do a whole lot better than we do down in Texas. But when it comes to spice levels, there's no comparison whatsoever. What's the hottest pepper you've ever eaten? I thought I'd die over a ghost pepper. Steffi 647. I don't know if I've ever had a ghost pepper. Maybe. Probably the Carolina Reapers are about it. I don't know. I say that. I've had some peppers over in China and Singapore and places that I don't even know what they were. They're tiny. The tinier the pepper, typically the hotter they are. I know I had a tom yum soup over in Indonesia one time. No, in Malaysia. And I knew I was in trouble. They said, how spicy do you want it? And I said, I'll give it to me just like you give the locals. And they said, you sure? You sure? Yeah. Bring it out to them. I knew I was in trouble when they brought the soup to me, and all the waiters just stood around waiting for me to take the first sip of this soup. And I did. And it's just like the cartoons where you see the steam coming out of their ears and the smoke coming out of their head and all that. It was so hot. But at that point in time, I couldn't not eat it because then I'd look like a lightweight. So I ate it. And these waiters saw my face just turning brighter red. I start sweating everywhere. And I said, by God, I'm going to finish this if it's the last thing I do. And it almost was. But I finished it. And when I got done, they all clapped and said, oh, good job. And I said, oh, okay. I'm never doing it again, but I finished it this time. All right, what else do we have out here? David Buchanan, tacos are good every day. I agree. And they don't have to be crunchy tacos. They can be crunchy. They can be soft. They can be so many different ways you can make a taco. All right, I did see a new food combination posted that I haven't tried yet, but I'm curious to see how this goes. Flaming Hot Cheetos. A lot of us like Flaming Hot Cheetos, right? They now have Flaming Hot Cheetos, macaroni and cheese, Flaming Hot Cheeto flavored. It looks horrible. It is the brightest orange looking macaroni and cheese. It's not something that looks so interesting to eat, but I bet the flavor is, we'll just call it interesting. I'm gonna have to try that out. I haven't tried it. I don't even know if our stores down here have it, but I'm gonna track it down and find out. Mark Taylor, are you doing the coaches next February for BB Celebrity? Any idea who's going to be on? Anyone you want to be on? We talked about that last week. First of all, no, I have no idea who's going to be on. I may cover it. It depends. I've got some other stuff going on next spring. We'll talk about later and all, but time-wise, I don't know if I've got the time available to make the commitment. We'll see. I mean, we're a few months away, but and it depends on how many live feeds they do. If it's all night long or it's just a few hours, I don't know. I'll be watching it, so I'd like to cover as well. As far as who's going to be on, not a clue. Who I'd like to be on, I said last time, I think, Lance Bass, Neil Patrick Harris. I mentioned Johnny Manziel, former quarterback for A&M, because I watched him playing. That'd be pretty cool. I know there's a lot more out there. I don't really care. I mean, it's cool. I loved watching Tom Green when he was on BB Celebrity season 2, I think. I watched him way before he ever went on Big Brother, so to see him in the house was kind of neat. And I've talked to him just through DMs once or twice since I was on the show, which is kind of neat too. But now I don't know who's going to be on, but I'm excited. I'm glad we're getting another season of the celebrity version. So let's see. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to keep up with these comments. I know I've missed a few here and there, but I'm trying. Mac and cheese is so yummy, Moss saying. Oh, here's the kicker. When I was inside the Big Brother house, Tommy wanted to make homemade macaroni and cheese, and he got out the pasta shells and all kinds of fancy cheeses, and he cooked, and it was good. It was really good. But I lived on, while I was in that house, it seems like just old boxed Kraft cheese and macaroni that you buy for 80 cents at the grocery store or whatever. Takes 15 minutes to fix, man. And I gotta say, Tommy's was good. You'll pay a lot more for that at a restaurant than you would for mine. But mine was the go-to. Mine was one I could cook up and eat morning, noon, and night while I was inside the house. And I think a lot of people like mine better than Tommy's, maybe because we just don't have the taste buds that Tommy has. So we got Tamantha Beasley. Would you do the circle? Oh yeah, if they asked me to. What reality shows would I not do if I was asked? Well, I think the dating shows, my wife may have a little something to say about that. So probably none of the dating shows. The cooking shows, the health department probably would have something to say about that. They'd probably say, yeah, Cliff, we've seen the way you cook, so you aren't doing that. The contenders, yeah, they're probably not going to put me in a boxing ring anytime soon. But everything else, pretty much fair game. Put me on Naked and Afraid, put me on The Circle, put me on the market, Guys Grocery Game. I don't care, whatever. Yeah, I'd do it. The Circle, yes, I would do. I just don't know if I'd be that good at it. I feel like when I communicate with someone, so much of my communication is not the words, but the smile, the hands, the I don't know. I feel like I'll do a lot of conversating. Isn't that horrible? With something other than the words. If I'm just sitting there having to type on the computer, that'd be hard. I don't think I'm strong enough at that as some of y'all are who spend a lot more time posting on Twitter and Instagram and all of that. I think people would watch the way I typed under the Circle messages and everything, and they'd say, this guy, hey, he's just some old geezer. Get him out of here. He obviously isn't with it in terms of how things work in the social media world. And maybe I'd fool. Maybe I'd do better, I think, but that'd be hard. It would drive me crazy if the only thing I knew about everyone else in that house was whatever I saw come up on that little Circle TV screen. That'd be hard. But yeah, I'd do it if they asked. Sure, why not? All right, Mark Taylor. Can your team beat Bama this Saturday? I'm rooting for the Aggies. And it's Antonio saying it's the Alabama Slammer. Well, first of all, I'd love to beat Bama. We did it once before back in 2013. You're not going to catch me betting any money on Texas A&M beating Alabama. Bama's good. They're real good. And my Aggies aren't quite as good as I thought they were going to be this season. Now, we did lose some people to injuries. It's been a tough season. We just lost two cornerbacks. Just announced yesterday or today. So, yeah. No, I'm not betting against Alabama when I think we get smoked. But you know what? There's always a chance, right? What's that thing that you're saying there's a chance, right? Yeah, there's a little bit of a chance, but I think there's a better likelihood of lightning and thunder keeping us from getting defeated this Saturday than us actually winning on the field. But you never know. I'm going to hold out hope until the game's over. There's a saying at Texas A&M, we never lose a football game, but sometimes we run out of time. And I'm just going to stick with that philosophy that as long as the gun hadn't gone off saying the game's over, there's always a chance out there. But I'm not betting on it. How's that for an answer? All right. James Brown, I'd love to see Cliff on Celebrity Big Brother in February. Well, me too, but I kind of think that, what do they get for Celebrity Big Brother? C-list, D-list celebrities to go on there. I got to figure I'm like an XYZ list kind of celebrity, right? Yeah, yes, there's some people that recognize me, but I'm not exactly a Ryan Lochte kind of a celebrity. So, yeah, I do it, but talk about being awestruck. I don't put me in there with Dina Lohan and some of those. That'd be kind of interesting. That'd be interesting at all. Ms. Birthday Girl, Celebrity Big Brother during the Winter Olympics. Yeah, and in fact, that's interesting because originally, when I got evicted, well, finale night of my season, I asked Julie Chen Moonves, being the Big Brother fan that I am, I said, Julie, are we having Celebrity Big Brother this season? And she said, yeah, no, I don't think so. We're going to let the Winter Olympics happen, and then we'll come up the next year, probably do it. Well, then COVID hit and everything got all screwed up. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised that we're doing Winter Olympics and Celebrity Big Brother. But you know which one I'm watching, right? Now, I'll still watch a hockey game here or there, but I'll probably tape it while I watch Big Brother. Maybe vice versa. We'll see. Depends. If it's USA versus Canada, Big Brother may have to sit tight on that one. But for everything else, I'm watching Big Brother and I'm taping all the Winter Olympics. It's tough. Not enough hours in the day to cover everything I want to watch on TV, it seems like at times, and get the sleep in, which unfortunately sleep is the lowest priority of everything that I seem to do on a day-to-day basis. All right, what else? David, sorry, 7:55, man. David saw an A&M license plate coming from the province of Quebec. We're everywhere, David. We're like cockroaches. You're not ever going to get rid of us. We're everywhere, for better or worse. I've been in the middle of nowhere. I've been in the jungles of Colombia. I've been on Red Square, in Red Square in Moscow, and had someone come up to me and say, I recognize that ring. That's a Texas A&M class ring, isn't it? Yeah, it is. And they've got one on too. Next thing you know, we're sitting there in a little bar drinking vodka. Oh, happy National Vodka Day, which is today also. Funny how that segues. Yeah. Sitting there drinking vodka with an Aggie that I just met there in the middle of Red Square in the Kremlin in Moscow. Incredible experience. But yeah, we're everywhere. And you think Texans are loud and arrogant and boastful. Well, Aggies just take it up another notch. That may be why I got on the Big Brother show. They may have just seen me and heard me talking about A&M and all of that. And they probably said, geez, this guy, people are either going to love him or hate him as much as he goes on and on and on about that stuff. Put him on the show. He'll be perfect. Maybe. I don't know. I certainly tried to rep Texas A&M while I was inside that house. Hopefully for the better. But if not, well, I gave it my best. All right, let's see. Stephanie Zhao, did you meet camera people, production crew, etc. after the show ended, or you just shuffled away? You're pretty much shuffled away. There are one or two people I met. I met one person who I found out later was one of the cameramen, because I immediately asked them all kinds of questions. Hey, how many cameramen did y'all have back there? And, how often? I ask all these technical questions, and they're like, yeah, we can't really talk about that. If I can't get on Big Brother again, I just want them to let me come back and hang out behind the mirrored glass and just document everything that takes place behind the scenes of Big Brother. We'd all watch that, right? Now, I'm sure they'd say, oh, it takes away the magic or something. I don't care. I want to see everything that takes place. I want to see how many producers are involved in making that show. How many cameramen are in there during the day? When people are asleep, is there just some cameraman with a camera just pointed straight down at some person? Oh, look, I think he's getting ready to snore again. I don't know. I'd love to find that out. But no, the answer is we've met very few. I met one or two people who I found out later were some of the producers. I met one person who I found out later, this is like a year later, who I started talking to and found out that he was a props guy. He handled a lot of the props and the decorating inside the house and things like that. And I actually recognized him from one of the pictures that was just up on the wall, just as a decoration. And he said, yeah, that was me. And so we talked a little bit. But no, we don't really meet all those people. And I guess it's just because they want to keep it a little bit of a mystery even for us. I really hoped when the season was over, they'd let us walk around the outside walls to see what it looked like. Nah, as soon as it was over, they put us in vans. They sent us back off the lot. We never got to take a tour or do anything, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. 7:59. Wow. All right, guys. I hope y'all, what else did I think I covered it. All right. This day in history, 1957, 1957, Sputnik launched. We began the satellite era, the first satellite in space. And the reason I point that out is because next week, William Shatner, Captain Kirk, goes blasting off into space. I think that's pretty cool. He is 90 years old and he's getting to go up into space. That gives me some hope. I'd love to go up in the rocket ship at some point and hopefully while I'm alive. and float around a little bit and do silly stuff. So anyway, there you go. All right, we're gonna shut it down, guys. It is 8 o'clock. Thank you so much. I know Big Brother's over, but that doesn't mean that our fun didn't over here. So thank you for staying on board. Those of you who have some questions, thank you for the questions. Those who are watching on replay, thank you as well. And send me if you can't come out live, send me questions. I'll write them down ahead of time. I'll make sure I cover them during the live show itself. But again, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to my channel. It'll let you get notifications so you know every time I drop a Survivor episode or the Contenders or Gold Rush or anything else I'm trying to cover. You'll know when it's happening, and you'll be one of the first ones out there, and you can make comments and I'll comment back and all that. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Monday. Enjoy your first week of October. I'll just wrap it up by saying SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love the reality TV family out there. Y'all are special people. It's just this is my favorite part of the week. Just getting to interact with y'all. I never know what questions they're going to be asking. It's always fun trying to answer them and giving y'all a little insight to my life and to Big Brother and everything else. So y'all have a great evening. Go hug your family, your friends, your loved ones. Make sure that they know that they're special, and make sure that you know that you're special as well. And for those of you celebrating birthdays, happy birthday to all of y'all. Have a great one, guys. I'll talk to y'all later. SKD 143. Bye. Now we're out of here.